As support for universal health care rises, and we'll show you all the evidence, Congressman Khanna pushed back on ABC News against an anchor who claimed very casually that Medicare for all is impossible. Take a look.
I want to, you retweeted a post by Bernie Sanders that said, yes, we waste hundreds of billions a year on healthcare administrative expenses that make insurance CEOs and wealthy stockholders incredibly rich, while 85 million Americans go uninsured or underinsured. Healthcare is a human right. We need Medicare for all. That's not really going to happen. So what would you say to those Americans who are frustrated right now?
Well, first of all, Bernie Sanders is absolutely right. I believe we can make Medicare for all happen. He was retweeting Elon Musk, who was pointing out that the United States spends the most on administrative waste. If you care about efficiency in government, Medicare is 2% administrative fees. The private insurance, 18% that they're wasting.
Yeah, and so look, if you want to say it seems impossible that, with how opposed our politicians are to any wide-scale reforms that it could happen, or that they're so clearly bought by the industries that Medicare for all would upend that it might seem impossible. But it's one thing for a regular person to make an evaluation of how likely it is to happen, whether you agree with Bernie Sanders or Khanna or not. It's one thing for me to say what I think. She's an anchor on ABC News. I'm not saying she's a senator or anything, but it's not like she's not part of the power structure that determines whether it happens or not. Maybe in a country where anchors, like hard news anchors, just routinely say, oh, that's a pie in the sky idea, that could never happen. Maybe that contributes to it not happening. Maybe you have a responsibility not to try to stack the deck against something you're, faux neutrally just saying isn't going to happen. And the thing is, if you just ask the American people, it doesn't seem like it should be impossible. 62% of Americans in the most recent polling agree that the US government should ensure that everyone has health care. Even the percentage, by the way, recently of independents and Republicans who support it have risen. And back in just 2013, it was only at 42%. It's 50% higher now than it was then. And you can see in this chart how it's been going up. And so, it got a little bit tight in the middle there. But gradually, and especially recently, it's been changing once again. And I think that the conversation around this murder really makes clear how people think about this topic, what they think is changing over time. Maybe let's not cut off the conversation about it when the American people seem to think that we should be having that very conversation. Ida, what do you think?
I urge them not to cut out this conversation, and I'll guarantee you that the conversation has come back to popularity since what has happened with the CEO. I always just think that there are these people that they're the people who are profiting from this kind of stuff. And they're just either extremely selfish and don't care about other people and totally disconnected because they make more money than everybody in the country, and they can pay those expensive premiums without any worry because they have their pensions and all of the stuff in place because they've been working for a long time, or they're getting checks. And I think a lot of people are getting checks. And I know it sounds crazy that I say it like we talking about street crimes or street, but it is. They are the biggest criminals. When you talk about drug dealers in the hood and you talk about people committing these ridiculous crimes in lower income neighborhoods, those are petty crimes compared to what is happening at the top. Has the water in Flint got better? Do you think about those kinds of things? Are you seriously telling me that, somebody who's making $1 million a year sitting down for a couple of hours reporting the news can't be connected and understand that some people have to go wait for 7 hours to be seen in a hospital and be mistreated and not be able to get their medication? So, anything that has been revolutionary throughout history was an impossible thought. Right. And it's been so many things. People didn't think light was going to be a thing. I'm sure there were people that were like, you know what? That dude is a fool talking about a light. And here we are sitting in lit rooms. So why does universal health care have to seem so ridiculous? And only seems ridiculous to the people who don't have to worry about their health care.
Yeah. I honestly think, and if it happens, it's not going to be up to me, but I honestly think like that everybody's wondering what are the next couple of years going to be like? And a lot of it is going to be Trump doing a whole bunch of damage. But you know what
Yeah.
the next couple of years could also be like in the run up to the midterms and the presidential election? Establishing single payer healthcare. Like maybe this is a moment where it is possible and we can take from these horrible, chaotic times. You know what? We all do kind of agree on this. 62%, a lot of independents, a lot of Republicans. People are so desperate for a change. They're celebrating a murderer, a cold blooded murderer. And I think, like, I don't know how many regular people sort of like see this moment for what it is, but I think those on the other side do. Like Bernie was responding to an Elon Musk tweet in what he said about Medicare for all. And Elon Musk has gone on Twitter and he's been like, everybody making these jokes about this killer are really bad or whatever. And I think a regular person can have whatever thought they want about the memes and everything. But hold up, Elon Musk. You're the edgiest edgelord on the internet. You love memeing. You think it's the funniest thing and posting deep fakes and having fun with all this. And it's free speech. How dare you clamp down on someone's self-expression? All of a sudden, when a rich person gets gunned down, Elon Musk, he would like you to all be more responsible in your rhetoric. Maybe because he knows that healthcare CEOs aren't the only ones that a plausible case could be being made that they are leading to untold human suffering and in fact death. Maybe there's other sorts of CEOs that do that sort of thing. And obviously, I don't want any kind of violence. I think it's terrible. I think that even this is terrible. But I think they see the pitchforks being gathered, they see the torches being lit, and they are going to come down hard on everyone who's going to try to make something positive come of this. And if possible, I think that's what this time should be about. We should be electing senators in the next 2 years that will push for universal health care. Whoever makes it through the Democratic primary the next time around needs to be not just approving of it, but centering it in their campaign. And I think they would find a lot of people willing to vote for them, and not all of them registered Democrats.
I just wanted to quickly say that I think that when people attribute this patriotic Americanness to the Republicans or right wingers, Trumpers, GOP, they forget that a lot of these people do believe in their fundamental rights as Americans. That's what they believe they're fighting for. So when they are the ones that revolt, I mean, I have sources that have told me that those guys that attempted to assassinate Trump they were Republicans. Those are not left wingers. They were not. They belong to that group. So when you see these people that are saying this is not what America is about, you too are trying to take our freedoms. That's where you see revolt, because Democrats and liberals, for the most part, tend to be kind of wusses. Is the way they don't fight like that. They tend to look down on violence, and they tend to look down and try to reach across the aisle, and they always are advocating for this diplomacy. It's the right wingers who aren't lock arms and are like, kill Hillary, lock her up. They yell out the kind of atrocities. So don't be surprised when your people start acting like your people. I don't understand why you're shocked. I'm sure Elon Musk is probably a little nervous since he likes to go out and hang out at comedy clubs and stuff like that. And I don't condone or advocate violence against anyone. But I'm sure that when you see someone who is a reflection of yourself, that's when you get nervous. But that's the difference between empathy, right, and just narcissism. The fact that it only matters when it's somebody who you can identify with is what makes you a bad human being. And that you don't have empathy for people who are getting mistreated and murdered on train stations and train stops and in the middle of the street and so on and so on and so forth. So there's that.
Yeah, and look, obviously the line is maybe the easiest to draw when it's like, a healthcare CEO or whatever, but like, I don't know, a lot of people have died in Teslas because Elon Musk has purposefully lied about the capacity for self-driving that it has for years and years and years, and suppressed internal evidence that it's not ready to be used in the way that it is, and people have died. The report came out, I think it literally is classified as that manufacturer's cars are the least safe cars on the road today in the last week. I'll look it up. We might do something later in the week, but I don't know. There's a lot of crazy people out there. Like, maybe stop screwing people over for profit. Like, maybe that would be a great idea. And again, we are 100% against any kind of violence. I'm just saying, if a crazy person wants to draw the line, it's not just health insurance CEOs that line can be drawn to.